So let's continue with the second example of solving problems using Venn diagrams. All right, in this case, a platform diving squad of 25 has 18 members who dive from 10 meters and 17 who dive from 5 meters. How many dive from both platforms? So in this case, if we draw a Venn diagram, we have two categories again. So in this category, this first one, we'll make this our 10-meter platform, and we'll make this category, our 5-meter platform. And we know that we have a total of 25 people who are diving. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put some little letters in the regions just to make some sense. Okay, so I've got A, B, and C. And then out here, I'm going to put D. So A is going to represent those divers who only dive from 10 meters. B is going to represent those who only dive from both, who dive from both. And C is going to represent those who only dive from 5 meters. So the platform diving squad has 25 members, 18 who dive from 10 and 17 who dive from 5. So think about this. We know that in the region that represents the 18 members, which is A and B, represents the 10 meters, 18 people should be represented between those two places. We also know that the region that represents the 5-meter platform divers, which is B and C, that should represent 17 people. Great. Does that make sense? We also happen to know that all of them together is supposed to equal 25. The reason I know that it's A plus B plus C equals 25 is because on this platform diving squad of 25 people, like everybody's going to be diving. You wouldn't be on the squad if you weren't a diver. So technically, D we know is going to be equal to 0. But basically, we have the opportunity to figure out some values by using some substitution. So let's do a little bit of grouping. If I say I have A plus B plus C equals 25, and I know that B plus C equals 17, I could go ahead and substitute. And instead of having A plus B plus C, I could just write A plus 17 equals 25. I can subtract 17 from both sides, and I should be able to figure out how many are in A, which in this case means that there are 8 people in A alone. So 8 people in A alone. If there are 8 people in A alone, and we know that the 10-meter group was supposed to have 18 people, then how many are there available to be in the almond here? If A alone represents 8 people and A and B is supposed to be 18 people, then what does B represent? B must be 10 people. All right? Still working on that logic, we know that on the 5-meter platform, 17 people were supposed to dive from 5 meters. Well, if 10 are already spoken for, they dive both. How many are left over to only dive for 5 meters? And 7 people would be left. And then just to double check, does 8 plus 10 plus 7 equal 25? Yes, it does. So there are no leftover people, which makes sense because there's nobody on your team who doesn't dive. So that would be, so then let's actually answer the question. The question is how many dive from both platforms? 10 dive both platforms. I suppose we didn't actually need to figure out the value of C because we had already figured out what B was. Great.